As part of Ferrari Fridays, William Ross from the Exotic Car Marketplace will be discussing all things Ferrari and interviewing people that live and breathe the Ferrari brand. Topics range from road cars to racing, drivers to owners, as well as auctions, private sales, and trends in the collector market.
And welcome back to the Ferrari Marketplace. I'm your host, William Ross, or I've been labeled Big Money Ross by my nearest, dearest friends. Thank you for that, guys.
For everything from Ferrari and Porsche, Lamborghini and Koenigsegg, visit exoticcarmarketplace.com. If you're into anything with wheels and a motor, log on to the Motoring Podcast Network and check out our family of podcasts at motoringpodcast.net. This is the place to find your favorite new show. Next up, a shout out to David Beatty and his team at Slot Mods, who custom build some of the coolest slot car tracks in the world at slotmods.com. Let your imagination run wild. And finally, Grand Touring Motorsports, covering all aspects of auto racing and motorsports history. Check out their e-zine at gtmotorsports.org. All the links for our sponsors are in the description.
Hey, what do you guys think of the new intro we did up there? Well, I should say that my producer extraordinaire, Eric, put together for me. It's pretty sweet, isn't it? Sounds a lot better than me doing it and ramble on through thanking all the sponsors and supporters we have, right? And also, check it out. I have a new microphone. Eric's been prodding me for a while. Get a new mic, get a new mic. Your mic sucks, your mic sucks. I stepped up, spent the money, got myself a new microphone. So hopefully this sounds a lot better than I used to sound. There's a couple there. I sounded right. The rest of them, I sounded like shite. Hopefully this will make me sound smarter. We'll see. Anyways, this weekend, June 14th, June 15th, the biggest race of the year, the 24-hour Le Mans is happening. Now, some argue it's the Indy 500. I think it's actually the 24 hours Le Mans. It's 24 hours long, all the different classes, everything like that. It's been going on for how many years has it been? It's just a spectacular race. We're going to talk about Ferrari a little bit here at Le Mans. You might ask, how does this really pertain to, say, the marketplace and cars that you can buy? Well, let's talk about the history, Le Mans, and everything like that in regards to what it entails. See, now, when Le Mans started, it was basically about manufacturers and competing, whose car can last 24 hours. When it first started, and for the longest time, it was a race of attrition. It was like, okay, who, one, can build a good, solid car, but two, is, all right, who's behind the wheel that really kind of, can, I guess you could say, nurse the car to the finish line and make it last 24 hours. Because everything you had there, public roads, everything like that. So it wasn't like you had this nice glass tabletop smooth track. The cars would take a lot of abuse in driving. And plus the other fact is when you have multiple drivers doing it, each person drives a car differently. So what's happening is you got these two different styles. Now, if you got one person that's driving for 3 or 4 hours, it's going to be, you drive it one way, then if you get it happen, it's going the other way. So there's all these variables that come into play. But basically what it boils down to is who can make their car last. And the one thing I always really enjoyed about the earlier races, I guess you could say, is there was two drivers, maybe one at times. I mean, insanely, we had Mr. Chinetti. He did a 23-hour stint. One of the years that he won was at 48, 49. Something along those lines, and he almost did the whole race, and it's been attempted. But again, trying to make your car last was the key. And these were road-going cars with some modifications done to them for racing, maybe lighten them up a bit, strengthen a few things here and there. But in essence, it was a car that you bought off the showroom floor or however you got the car. You shipped it to France, stuck some numbers on it, and off you went. You had guys who were wearing ties and suits racing. Talk about totally different times, and safety, forget about it. That was an afterthought in regards to that. I mean, a lot of these guys wearing just this leather, I don't even call it a helmet, but just a hooded cover on your head. So it wasn't protecting much. I mean, the only thing that was going to do is maybe keep your brains in one spot inside this little leather bag. That's about it. But those are cars that really fascinate me because, that was a car, like I said, you could buy and drive to the track, race, and then leave. Was it 1995? And even then it was kind of pushing it with the McLaren F1. I mean, that was a very specialized race car. But technically, that car could have been driven there and back from the UK. But that was the last year one. And now there's a lot of variables involved in them winning. There was horrendous weather, everything like that. But you know what? Hey, that's all part of the game. When you're running Le Mans, Mother Nature and the racing gods, as a lot of people say, Le Mans chooses you. You don't choose Le Mans to win. But you got to look at the last, I say the last because the last Ferraris to win were the 499s. Those are straight up race cars. Now, the new F80 came out. Obviously, it's heavily based on that car. But they also have it for customers. You can buy the 499 Modifica. If you've got deep pockets that basically go from your neck down to your ankles, you can buy that, and they run, they operate, everything like that. You just show up to track and everything like that. And on a side note on that, I'm a type of person, I own something like that, especially if it's a multi-million-dollar car in my possession at my home or in my facility or wherever, I got that kind of money, you got a storage facility. I want it where I have it. I don't want it sitting somewhere halfway across the world where, okay, I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, you got to trust them or anything like that. But you know what? That's just me. I like to have things in my possession and own it. It's just one of those things. That's who I am. I think there's a lot of people like that. But, I guess when you're in that tax bracket, your mindset works in a different manner. But anyways, technically, you can buy, what they're racing there at Le Mans and drive it if you got deep pockets and you're part of the customer program and you were chosen by the gods at Ferrari to be able to buy one. But like I said, I want to go back to the cars, your 50s, 60s, 40s, I guess you should say. Ferrari wasn't doing road cars. He started to very minimally. He was just building straight up race cars, F1 cars, everything like that. But obviously, then to race Le Mans, you had to build that type of car to run Le Mans. Because again, the way the rules and everything work, because it was supposed to be for about manufacturers racing each other and who's got the best car and who builds the best car. Building what he had, closed top, tin top cars, I didn't have it. But that's again, you could go buy this car, go race it, drive it home, drive it all year, then take it back for the next couple of years to do it. Because, a lot of cars, technologically, they didn't advance all that much year in, year out. Now, in racing nowadays, last year car is a piece of dog doo-doo compared to what the current season cars. They changed so much. It's unbelievable how much of a change that car goes through during the season, but then in the following season, basically making the previous season's car obsolete. And hence, I think you're seeing a huge popularity and upswing in historic racing. Hence, also, me and my boy Eric and a few other people are going to be at the Le Mans Classic here in a few weeks, which I cannot wait. Actually going to be out in San Francisco next weekend for the Hillsborough Concours, which is sweet. Me and my friend Eric and our good friend Jonathan Summers, we're going to be docents. I don't know if we're judging or not or something, but no, we're going to be doing something, being a participant, and got dressed all up, wearing the old blue jacket, khaki pants, white shirt, and I haven't had khaki pants since high school, and in all honesty, I have to go buy a pair because I don't have any. So it's one of those things where you got to get what you got to do. But anyways, back to what we're talking about. To 1965, the last Ferrari, road-going Ferrari, I guess you could say, the 250 LM that won Le Mans, actually just sold because it was owned by the Indianapolis Motor Museum. And I'd love to know how back then in the early 70s that car ended up getting in their hands. How does an oval track in America get their hands on a Le Mans winning Ferrari 250 LM that's a road racing car, left, right turns, everything like that? They had a lot of interesting cars in their collection, and obviously to raise funds to fund their expansion and that. But I get sidetracked, as you know, listeners. But just as a side note, so get clarification for everybody, because everyone's like, oh my God, they're going to have all this money, they're going to be able to do the coolest things. All those cars that they sold, all that money could not go towards renovating the museum. All it can do is go to buying new cars, or it just goes into the endowment to help fund and operate and run the museum. It couldn't do anything with change they did, which from my understanding is spectacular. I've seen some videos of it. A gentleman friend of mine, Malcolm Ross, was there. He showed me a bunch of stuff from it. It's spectacular what they did. It's really good. They did a hell of a job. But anyway, I'm just curious how they ended up with that car. But okay, here we go again. That 250 LM, those cars were getting more and more into, hey, this is just a race car. It's not real. You can't drive it on the street. But, that 250 LM is good. But then all of a sudden you started getting GT40, same thing. The race car, you're not really going to drive it on the street because just what it was and how stripped down and just how brutal that car was. Everything they put into it, the racing clutch, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a nightmare to try to drive on the street. That's the thing, hey, you got to get it going. That's when all of a sudden, 917, everything, basically you start getting to, these are just straight up race cars. They are not cars you're driving from wherever to the track, race, and drive it home. What I love about that is, you have those cars from then. Obviously, if you have one that won Le Mans, you're going to look at that price tag. Look at that 250 LM sold for a little over $36 million, which I think was right on the money. I actually thought maybe it'd go for a little bit more. And I've seen that car several times in person, everything like that, the patina on it, everything like that. So it's never really been restored. They kept it in operating condition, mechanically wise, stereo wise, everything like that. It's pretty much as it ran at Le Mans back in '65, so which was spectacular. Then you got other cars that won that give increased value on your car exponentially if you own it or you want to own it. But you have a lot of people out there that's what they look for. Look at that Simeone. We see him in Philadelphia, which I wish I was going there this weekend because they're doing this awesome thing. My boy Eric's going to be there kind of as a moderator doing some things. So if you are in that area, get a ticket and go. I had a commitment to something else that I got to do for a show up here, helping support Rockin' Revs that we have the end of July. Check out the website, rockinrevs.com. We're blowing it out of the water in regards to what we have there event-wise and stuff like that, trophies. I have adult big wheel races, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But anyways, going about like Simeone, all their cars there have rich race history, winning race history. Awesome museum, and that I highly recommend you go see that. Just kind of a side note, also go to the Revs one down in Florida, down in Naples, spectacular stuff. But anyways, again, you go back to have these cars that race on Sunday, drive home on Monday, I guess you could say. And that's what always really intrigued me about those cars, that ability to do that. Obviously, they had some slight modification, but it wouldn't take hardly anything to bring back, and they probably wouldn't. That's what I think people all of a sudden fail to realize, because 250 GTO, never driven one. I rode one once, not very fast, but it was very brief. That is just a full-blown race car. Yes, you could drive it on the street if you want, but it's loud. There's no sound or anything. It's loud. It's not very comfortable. It's a brutal car, but it's made to be raced, driven, high RPMs at a very rapid rate. That's what that car is made for. It's not made to be going to stop and go traffic doing 20 miles an hour from light to light. That ain't gonna happen. I would have loved to have been back in a thing when Phil Spector was driving his around LA back in the the early 70s when he had his. It had just been awesome to see. But that's a car then, hey, race car, but you could drive it to the track, race it, drive it home. And you had a lot of guys that, take for instance the Tour de France that they used to do, and I think they revived it in some shape or form. I have to look that up. God, was it a month-long tour? As a multi-week tour of France. But what it entailed is, obviously, you had your road rally portions, but then you had also track racing to do time, stuff like that. You had hill climbs, and then you had your rally sections about time and everything. It basically combined all these different facets and types of racing and stuff that you could do, with your car, road car, again, but it can take it on the track. The Tour de France was sweet. If you're not really all that familiar with it, check it out from back then, because it's some really cool stuff and some awesome cars ran in that. Like I said, I'm a big, huge fan of Le Mans. We'll see what happens if Ferrari can do this on the trot and win the third time in a row. It's looking more competitive after watching qualifying. So we'll see, and I don't know, by the time you listen to this, maybe the race will be over, so we'll know the answer to who won. But it's been interesting, I think it's a little bit tighter, especially with that top 12 or top 10 cars. But again, you're talking 24 hours. It's one thing to do one lap, but then it's a whole other thing to do, 300 some laps these guys are ending up doing now. Again, going back to what I was saying before is, these races were more about pace, attrition, babying, nursing the car till we got to the last couple hours. Now it's just a full-on sprint. It's from the flag drops to the flag's done, both ends. This go to stop, whatever. It's awesome to see because you have spectacular racing. I wish they'd get rid of the chicanes and just have the Mulsanne be what it was. It's so cool to see. I just wish they would. They top out now anyways, even with the chicanes in there. So what's the difference? Just take them out. Go back old school. It'd be awesome to see. It'd be cool to see, they did just like a open day. Get 5 of the hypercars, whatever. Say, okay, we're going to run without the chicanes on the Mulsanne and see what happens. Just test out. Just see. You want to talk about a sweet marketing thing to put out there. That would be awesome to see these all 5 going down, going just straight flat out like that. That'd be so cool to see. But yeah, so we shall see. So it's going to be a great race, as always. And I said, I think that's probably one of the best race of the year. Now, the best racing weekend used to be, here over Memorial Weekend, but F1 decided to go cock about with it, and now it seems to be that Monaco is going to be 2 weeks before that weekend, because it used to be you'd get up, you watch the Monaco Grand Prix, which of late it's boring. You turn it on, you watch it start, then you go do something else, or you read a book, something, then you watch the end. Okay, who won? Then you watch the Indy 500, which is a spectacular race to watch, right? It's so close, so much passing, everything like that. The drama, again, because it's a 500-mile race. That's a race, I won't say of attrition, but just going balls out attrition. So that's always an awesome race to watch. And then you got the close 600. So you got the trifecta of a race on that day. But now F1 went and changed up the schedules to where now Monaco will be, was it 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after? I don't know. They changed it up. Monaco's not even on the same week anymore. And now it turns out every 5 years, the Canadian Grand Prix will be on that day, which then that means it's during the day when the Indy 500 is running. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, because I get F1's reasoning behind it, because of the fact is logistics. Instead of like coming over for the Canadian Grand Prix, then going back over to Europe, then coming back over here to the United States, going back and forth. Now they can kind of keep it over here where it's Canadian Grand Prix, then the Miami Grand Prix, that kind of thing. So that stuff's not getting shipped back across the pond there. So I get it, but it sucks. Another piece of, I guess, motoring history going down the toilet because of money. Because that's what basically boils down to, is money. But I know I just kind of rambled in this episode, and it's a little bit shorter than some of the other ones, but I just kind of wanted to, touch base and say, hey, Le Mans this weekend, one of the greatest races. And when you got time, look at the history, especially if you're over in Europe, anyone over there listening to this, hit up Le Mans Classic. Me, Eric, and a few other people are going to be over there. Shoot me a message if you're going to be over there, and let's meet up. So it's going to be a really good time. Seeing all these old cars, everything like that, and how everything runs, so it's going to be pretty sweet. Can't wait to see it. Again, if you're listening and you're watching the race this weekend, and obviously there's some time in there, unless you're just glued to it and you just watch the racing balls out the whole time, God bless you. You can watch it obviously on HBO Max. HBO covers it very, very well. But also, if you're here in the United States or even over in Europe, remember to check out and become a member of the ACO USA. Trying to do a lot more over here in regards to supporting the ACO, but just in road racing, everything in general. Do some really cool things. So check it out. Link will be in the description about the ACO USA. Look into it. Spend the money. Become a member. It's really cool to see. But if you're watching the race, got time, check out the history of Le Mans. Check out the Tour de France racing stuff. That's really cool too. Hey, Le Mans in France, so hey, they kind of all coincides, right? But just look at the history and stuff like that, and pick a brand. Obviously I got a preference for Ferrari, and just look at the history and what they ran, what the cars were like that, and just like see if you can find the stuff. Hey, auction history. Check out one that's got that Le Mans history to it. Then check out one that doesn't, and look at the price difference, and look at how much value is added to it with that race history. Then especially if you have one that was, if you have a Le Mans when he won, but that 250 LM, so well known, everything like that. That's really huge, and it also the fact is it's last real going Ferrari to win Le Mans, so it had a lot of added value to it. That's why you can get up there, because that's 3 times. I'm trying to think, what's a road going Le Mans LM, 8 million to 10 million, I thought I'd say. They don't come up very often because there's not that many of them. But check that out. It's always good just kind of look at that and how that everything plays in that. Check some stuff out about the Le Mans Classic too, what they do with that, because I think if you like motoring history, that's something to very much definitely look into, and then attend as well. It's, what is it, every 2 years they do it or something like that? So anyway, so I think it's something really cool to check out. Lots of fun. Hey, I appreciate you listening to me ramble on in this episode, just kind of talking about a bunch of nonsense about Le Mans. I wanted to get it off my chest and get it out there and just say hello to everyone. So, hey, I appreciate everybody listening. Share it out there, spread the word, and, hey, hit up our supporters out there. Take care of us here on not only at the Ferrari Marketplace, but on the Motoring Podcast Network itself. And listen to some of the other stuff we got on there. It's a pretty sweet podcast we have. Some great content, some great materials, and check everything out. So, again, guys, I really appreciate you listening. Have a good one. And until next time, peace.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.